Hi, I'm Trent Bellinger, Career and Technical Education Director at the Delta Schoolcraft ISD. We serve about 600 students between Delta and Schoolcraft counties. I'm here today in our machining shop to kind of show you what our machine shop looks like. A lot of people are amazed by what we actually have for high school students in Delta and Schoolcraft counties. But my real plan here today is to tell you about our Return to Learn plan, what we're going to expect, and what our changes may be for the fall to get kids back in our buildings to learn, which we are super excited to get the kids back with us, and our teachers are chomping at the bit to get back in and try to return to some type of normalcy and some type of routine for students after 6 months off. So first of all, currently we're in phase 5 as of August 13th, and we are going to start as we're in phase 4, just because it's a little easier to start a little more firm than to go firm. So some of the small changes we've made that are non-intrusive to most people's lives is that we're going to do only in-person instruction. I know that some schools are offering multiple options. We feel that it's not efficient to offer CTE classes and content through an online program to start, just because students come in with almost zero prior knowledge of our contents. So we're going to offer only in-person instruction in phases 4 and 5. We hope that doesn't affect too many students, and if a student does choose to go online and can't take CTE because of that, we will welcome them in the second semester if they were to change their mind in in-person instruction. Once things calm down, there's a lot more knowns. We understand we're going to be flexible, just like you are being flexible. So we really appreciate that. For the students that are here, that are in person, we're going to make sure that everybody's socially distanced as feasible and as possible, which means 6 feet of space between students. We're also going to make sure that require that students wear a mask at all times, along with all staff's going to wear a mask at all times when in our building. This would just cut down on any error in the social distancing requirement and in any in-passing transmission that may happen. We understand that some people are not medically able to wear a mask, and that we are going to respect that. But just in everybody else's interest, we want to make sure that we have documentation that states that a student is not able to medically tolerate a mask. That's all it needs to say from a doctor. And if that person is not able to do that, we completely respect that. We just want to make sure that everybody else in the building is safe, so we're just going to ask that you wear a face shield just to cut down on any transmission out of your body that might be happening for everybody else's safety. Every instructional space is going to be cleaned multiple times a day after every single class. And during class, students are all going to be issued a rag of some type with a disinfectant that they can take around with them and disinfect after they're done with an object for the day. As you can see in the machine shop here, there's going to be lots of items that are touched, whether it's a screen, whether it's a tool. So we just want to make sure that gets a quick wipe down and just do the best job we possibly can to try to keep things as hygienic as possible. PPE that's typically shared, for example, sometimes students would share safety glasses or welding helmets or welding gloves and jackets and boots at some point. We're going to make sure that those are all provided for all students so that sharing doesn't happen and reduces transmission opportunities. Students will also have a private area to keep all of their items that need to stay at school. That way they're not always out and exposed to whatever may be coming in and out of our buildings. Bathroom visits are going to be kept to a minimum, as we always try to do, but this year drastically kept to a minimum where students will sign in and out, and we're only allowing 4 people in a bathroom at a time, and then if there's a waiting line, that will happen in the hallways, socially distanced, so we can try to keep those bathrooms, which is a commonly used space, as clean as possible. They will be shut down for an hour a day, a half hour at a time, in the mid-morning and mid-afternoon, to get them cleaned, make sure that the disinfectant can set and kill everything, and then we'll reopen those bathrooms. We've staggered our release times for our classes so that there's not a large crowd of students in the hallway at each time, so that should help down. We've also identified different entrances and exits for different programs and different hallways in our building to make sure that we're not having those cohorts intermingling in the building as often as possible. Parents, you're going to get in the first day your student comes, they're going to get a packet. I know you all love packets, but in that packet it's going to have a screening tool that we ask you to use to check your student, because you know your student best. You know if a symptom is typical or if it's a new symptom to look at before you send your student to school, to make that choice, whether they have those symptoms that might be on those lists. So we're just look for that in the packet that we give you to make sure that you're doing that due diligence, since you know your student best. Further screening may be conducted optionally in some of the classes that we have, because we have classes like health occupations. If you're in the health occupations field right now, likely you're getting temperature checked before you come to work every day. So we kind of want to model what industry trends look like in all of our programs. So there may be different from class to class on top of what the building requirements are. So just make sure that your teacher communicates that to you if that is this case. So that's in phase 4 and 5. If we're in phase 4 and 5, those are the rules, those are the small changes we're making to get you back here and to try to return to some sense of normalcy. If we were to regress back into phases 1, 2, or 3, we're going to offer a robust online option like we did in the spring, but hopefully way better, because we kind of had to punt in the spring. So we're going to have some teacher-created content, we're going to have some purchase content that we're going to use from a launch pad of Google Classroom, just like every other school in the 2 counties will be using. That way it kind of eases students' minds that they know that Google Classroom is kind of the launch pad for all of this, and all the information can be found there. So if you don't have technology in order to receive that virtual instruction, please contact your home school, the high school that you came from. They should be able to provide you with a Chromebook or some type of device along with an internet device. If there's a gap in technology, we're willing to help fill that gap, because we really want to offer it virtually, because that's the most effective way to make sure we can get the most content across as possible. If there's an extreme circumstance where the internet is just not an option at home, we will provide a Chromebook and a thumb drive that can be passed between student and teacher to get content to you as best you can. Try to stay away from as much paper as we possibly can. That just isn't an efficient mode of instruction. Daily attendance will be taken if we return to phase 3. That could be through a blog post, that could be through an in-person meeting during class time, that could be multiple ways. So just know that daily attendance is going to be taken and entered into PowerSchool if we were to return to virtual learning. We hope that we can work with all the local high schools and keep class times the same. So if you have math class at 8 o'clock, math class starts at 8. If you have welding class at 12 o'clock, welding classes from 2 o'clock or 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock. So we're hoping that we can coordinate that with all the locals to make it easier and less cumbersome for students to try to navigate. So again, we really look forward to these small changes helping us stay back in person if possible. But again, if we need to go back into virtual, we're ready for that too. We thank you for your flexibility. We thank you for your patience. We thank you for your understanding. Continue to please exhibit those, because as we all know, it's going to change, hopefully for the better, and just keep being flexible, and we'll be as flexible as we possibly can be too. Thanks for everything you're doing. Thanks for everything you've done. Can't wait to see you guys on the 31st, the 1st, and the 2nd, whenever you're starting school, your school starts. We'll see you then, and we'll get you the best instruction you possibly can to make you positive, contributing members of society. Take care. See you soon.